I don't care how dim-witted you are. Scientific principles have to make you smile.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the scenes, jokes, and motifs from young Sheldon that reminded us that it all started with a Big Bang Theory.
Did you put extra hot dogs in this spaghetti? I did.
Number 20, the Fun with Flags format. In this episode from season 3, Sheldon discovers that his mom has been hiding a letter from Caltech, offering him a spot at the university.
Caltech wants you to go to school there. Really? They want to talk to Mom and Dad about it. I can't believe she would hide that from me.
Since he's still a kid, Mary's not exactly eager to ship him off to California by himself. This leads to a big argument when it's revealed she kept the letter hidden from his dad too. Father and son then team up to convince her, presenting a video pitch with a backdrop that seems familiar.
Hello, I'm Sheldon Cooper, and this is why Sheldon Cooper should go to college. I realize attending college in another state or country is unrealistic at this time.
Yes, in the future, Sheldon would start a web series about flags that he'd present in a very similar manner. We also love the use of flags in his college pitch. Nice touch.
Sheldon Cooper, ready for college, ready to change the world.
Cut.
If that doesn't convince her, I don't know what her problem is.
Number 19, Sheldon goes to Germany. Sheldon's time in Germany gets mentioned occasionally in the Big Bang Theory.
When I was 15 and spending the summer at the Heidelberg Institute in Germany.
Studying abroad?
No, visiting professor.
While the details may not always line up, unless he goes back again, one thing's certain. He spent a summer there with his mom. It all begins when Sheldon realizes he's leaned too much on his child prodigy status and needs to beef up his resume for grad schools fast.
Competition is fierce. It takes a lot to stand out.
You're my advisors. Why didn't you advise me of this?
Sheldon, if I could offer you some advice.
No, thank you.
Thanks to donations from people eager for a Sheldon-free summer, he flies off to attend a summer school program. Of course, adult Sheldon also leaves out a few key details, like how he was dubbed the class Dummkopf, and the fact that he was tutored by an even younger kid genius.
You can't just invent dimensions. There's this one, and this one.
You forgot the dimension of time.
Ow. Thank you.
Number 18, relationship agreements. Sheldon's love for contracts is only rivaled by his obsession with rigid schedules.
Is there any chance you'd be available to stand guard at 1:45?
You have a bathroom schedule?
You don't?
It's no shock that his bathroom schedule started in childhood, though the real surprise is that Missy adopts it too when their house gets crowded. Anyway, we know adult Sheldon thrives on creating contracts, whether with his roommates, friends, or girlfriend.
Sheldon Lee Cooper, here and after known as the boyfriend, and Amy Farrah Fowler, here and after known as the girlfriend.
So romantic.
Back in season 1 of Young Sheldon, Connie gets upset with Dr. John Sturgis for going behind her back to confront Ira, who's trying to win her over with gifts, and Sheldon, who's been getting a little too involved. So Sheldon comes up with a solution that makes everyone happy. Narrator Sheldon even mentions that he's continued this tradition with his children.
I would go on to draw up such contracts throughout my life, with roommates, with my wife, even with my own children.
Number 17, Schrodinger's cat. Many of us first learned about Schrodinger's cat from the Big Bang Theory, and more importantly, how we could apply it to everyday dilemmas.
Just like Schrodinger's cat, your potential relationship with Leonard right now can be thought of as both good and bad. It is only by opening the box that you'll find out which it is.
When George takes his sons on a road trip to watch a shuttle launch, a car game turns into a conversation about the theory, or at least an attempt. Sheldon tries to explain it, but Georgie's more concerned with the cat's name, much to his brother's frustration.
So the cat's name is Schrodinger?
No.
Well, what's its name?
Its name doesn't matter.
It does if the cat was dead. Otherwise, what are you gonna put on his tombstone?
George manages to steer the discussion back on track, but by then, Sheldon's well and truly over it. Honestly, we're not sure why Sheldon got so frustrated when Penny didn't grasp it right away. She understood it much faster than Georgie.
Fine, the cat's name is Mittens.
Because he has little white feet? Sure.
Number 16, using Missy and Penny as test subjects. In season 2 of the prequel, Sheldon helps Missy with her math homework, turning it into an experiment.
It occurred to me, if I could teach mathematics to someone as dull-witted as my sister, I could create a race of superhumans that would do my bidding. And who wouldn't want that?
This isn't the first time apes inspired Sheldon to play teacher. In the gorilla experiment, he teaches Penny a little physics, comparing it to Coco the gorilla learning sign language. In both cases, he records the session and proves that the teaching profession is not for him.
What does that imply?
I don't know.
But how can you not know? I just told you. Have you suffered a recent blow to the head?
Hey, you don't have to be so mean.
He's not too kind to Penny, who's genuinely trying. But cutting the hair off Missy's Cabbage Patch doll, that's just cruel. Maybe young Sheldon hadn't yet heard of positive reinforcement. Still, if he'd used the same motivation on Penny, we're sure the result would have been the same.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
Number 15, Professor Proton. In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon mentions coming home every day after school to watch Professor Proton.
And every day at 4 o'clock, you'd come to my house on Channel 68, and we'd do science together. If it hadn't been for you, who knows what would have become of me?
Sure enough, in the young Sheldon pilot, there he is on the sofa watching, yes, you guessed it, Professor Proton. He's even watching the episode with the potato clock experiment that both confuses and blows Penny's mind in the original series.
Potato clock, do potato clock.
What's that?
I power a clock with a potato.
Shut up! You can do that?
It's not just that Sheldon enjoys watching the show, but he even wants to dress like his idol too. Ahead of his first day in high school, he panics when his bow tie goes missing. Professor Proton isn't the only one of Sheldon's childhood heroes who gets a shout out in the prequel.
Logan's cute. If you like him, then you should watch Star Trek with me.
He's not that cute.
Number 14, present day Sheldon's office. As many fans suspected, young Sheldon is revealed to be adult Sheldon writing his memoir.
Are you writing your memoir or a fantasy novel?
For your information, the word memoir comes from memory, and these memories are mine.
In the series finale, we see Sheldon's home office, which is packed with the Big Bang Theory Easter eggs. You'll spot his Nobel Prize medal on the wall, the DNA model in the corner, and even Gollum on his desk. Sheldon's spot is there too, so it's filled with nostalgic items from the old apartment that you'll need to rewatch and pause repeatedly to catch them all. Amy and Sheldon's chats also bring back moments from the original series.
And since when do you go out of your way to make other people happy?
How about once a year on your birthday?
Other than that, when?
All the time.
While season 4 revealed they named their son after one of Sheldon's favorite Leonards, the finale also tells us more about their daughter.
And by the way, your daughter wants to take acting classes.
I told you we never should have let Penny babysit.
Number 13, some familiar voices. Of course, we couldn't expand the Big Bang Theory universe without bringing in some of the original crew. We mentioned Amy showing up in the final episode, but we also hear her voice alongside narrator Sheldon on a couple of other occasions too.
Okay, we're off on a tangent. I'm taking over. Money can be a source of conflict in a relationship, even having too much.
Boy, hey, this is my story.
I know. Jealous?
Simon Helberg reprises his role as Howard Wolowitz too, but more on that soon. One cameo you might have missed is Kaylee Cuoco, who voices the swimming pool in Sheldon's Nightmare.
Why don't you like me?
You're full of bacteria.
So are you, but you don't hear me saying, ugh, it's rude. Look, I may just be pool water, but I still have feelings.
While she's not playing Penny, the pool brings all the sass we loved from her character. Also like Penny, the pool is surprisingly skilled at nudging Sheldon out of his comfort zone, even if, in this case, it's just in his subconscious.
A little closer.
Gotcha! Number 12, My Mother Had Me Tested. In one of the Parent series' most iconic running gags, whenever someone questions Sheldon's sanity, he usually replies,
I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested.
Mary even confirms this during one of her visits to Pasadena. In young Sheldon, we see her take him to a therapist after Dr. Sturgis's breakdown, just to put her mind at ease. There's also the time his parents took him to a psychotherapist after he developed a food phobia from choking at breakfast, though he wasn't technically tested then either. Still, Mary clearly had her concerns, and at some point, she had him officially tested.
Good news. I just spoke to Tommy Clarkson.
What? Are you crazy?
Nope, Mom had me tested.
It's too bad the series doesn't give more context or explain why Mary decided to skip getting a second opinion.
Actually, I had him tested as a child. The doctor says he's fine.
Told you.
Although I do regret not following up with that specialist in Houston.
Number 11, Sheldon's dislike of engineers. Sheldon infamously has little respect for a few professions besides his own.
The single most important field of study. Okay, no, stop. I'm sorry, Howard, I can't do this.
You asked me to write you an introduction to engineering.
Yes, and if I wanted a comedy routine, I'd have gone to Billy Crystal.
Yet he holds a particular disdain for both geology and engineering. Although Howard often feels the sting of Sheldon's comments about his field, it turns out this has never really been about him. Well, not at first.
Engineering, where the noble, semi-skilled laborers execute the vision of those who think and dream. Hello, Oompa Loompas of science.
It all began with Sheldon's engineering teacher, Professor Boucher, who relentlessly challenged and pushed him to his limits. Just when Sheldon thinks he's nailed the assignment, he gets locked out of class for being late. So essentially, Howard has been bearing the brunt of a very old grudge.
That's your problem with engineering?
Evidently.
So all the teasing and all the abuse had nothing to do with me.
I'll admit, at first I had a chip on my shoulder because of that class. But then it was mostly you.
Perhaps even more surprising is that Sheldon's contempt for geology can be traced back to a girl.
It's not really a science.
It's not?
No, it's more like a hobby. Rock collecting. Childish, really.
Number 10, Billy Sparks. In the pilot episode for Young Sheldon, viewers were treated to one of the first references to the Big Bang Theory.
Go play. If only life were that simple.
As Sheldon goes outside to play, he encounters Billy Sparks, a not-so-friendly neighbor. When Billy scares Sheldon with a live chicken, the protagonist runs frantically to the house while screaming in terror.
Hey, doofus!
Avid viewers of The Big Bang Theory will remember older Sheldon telling over-the-top stories about having been harassed by the one and only Sparks.
Will Wheaton currently ranks 6th on my all-time enemies list, right between director Joel Schumacher, who nearly destroyed the Batman movie franchise, and Billy Sparks, who lived down the street from me and put dog poop on the handles of my bicycle.
We'd go on to see more of Sparks in the prequel series, but this sequence connects the two shows from the jump.
Age 7, a bloodthirsty chicken chases me up a tree.
Number 9, the Caltech cafeteria. This entry is unique because it's a callback to a very specific location from The Big Bang Theory. When young Sheldon gets a chance to travel to Pasadena to see Stephen Hawking in the 3rd season, we're given a look into his future as he visits Caltech.
Imagine all the stimulating conversations that must go on at these tables.
I bet.
I can see myself going here one day.
I think you'd fit right in.
While he and his father stand at an open doorway, the camera pulls back, and we see the cafeteria where countless debates would ensue between him and his friends.
My cousin has a cabin out in the woods.
I'm not going to a cabin in the woods. Did you see the movie Cabin in the Woods?
Fans always knew Sheldon would end up at the research university, so it's extra nice to see the genesis of it all. Number 8, hot beverages. One of the best recurring characters on Young Sheldon is Paige Swanson, a friendly rival to Sheldon, portrayed by the amazing McKenna Grace.
Do you think Stone Age parents stayed together forever? They had to. There were no lawyers.
An incredibly touching moment unfolds in season 3 when Paige opens up to Sheldon about why she's having a hard time.
Really, I just feel alone. That sounds hard.
Though the protagonist could come off cold, we see his softer side as he expresses compassion for his friend. Then he offers her something we all knew was coming.
The hot beverage of comfort would become my go-to method of dealing with someone in emotional distress.
Indeed, over 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, we'd see him deliver such an offering to many friends, whether they wanted it or not.
It's when a friend is upset, you offer them a hot beverage, such as tea.
Tea does sound nice.
You heard the man, Leonard.
Number 7. Dream of becoming Gollum. We all need to take a break from our daily routines from time to time. Young Sheldon opts for a breather from science by taking in the likes of the Lord of the Rings books. In doing so, he becomes obsessed with picking apart the story's inconsistencies.
He says that it's mid-year stay Shire year 1418. However, in Appendix B, it says that Gandalf met Radagast on June 29th, which is impossible because, hey!
It's here we see him in a dream sequence talking to himself as Gollum/Smeagol.
If our brains is precious, we're wasting it on hobbitses. We like sciences. We took a break from sciences. It was making us crazy.
On the surface, it's a cute joke, but to the keen observer, it's a callback to the Big Bang Theory's Season 3 episode where the boys fight over a prop ring from the films.
Give us the precious.
More specifically, we're talking about the moment when Sheldon peers into a mirror and sees Gollum looking back at him in a dream.
My precious.
Number 6. The origin of Sheldon's 3 knocks. Writing a prequel comes with its challenges, especially when you have to stay true to the original series. Take the hot tub contamination, where Sheldon explains to Penny why he always knocks 3 times.
When I opened the door, I saw my father having relations with another woman.
That's awful.
I know. It's also why I never open a door without knocking 3 times.
This doesn't seem out of character for the George often described in the original series. However, it does feel rather off for the character we'd come to know and love in young Sheldon.
As a child, I never understood the sacrifices my father made for his family's happiness, which made me somewhat less compassionate than I should have been.
Yay! We're not moving! We stayed in Texas!
The show sparked hints of George's infidelity through flirtations with his neighbor Brenda, but it never went beyond that. Eventually, the writers found a brilliant way to write themselves out of this tight spot without totally backpedaling on Sheldon's account.
Oh, Helga.
I never talked to my father about what I saw that day, but from then on, I added extra knocks so people could get their pants on.
Number 5. Favorite spot.
Penny, that's where I sit.
Whether it's a spot at the dinner table, cafeteria, or somewhere else, many people have a place where they prefer to sit. Of course, anyone who's seen The Big Bang Theory is aware that Sheldon takes ownership of his spot to a whole new level on numerous occasions.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Here we go.
His attachment to the seat at the end of the couch is no laughing matter to the man.
Something's wrong.
So when he finds Tam sitting at the end of a cafeteria table on young Sheldon, we're given a callback to the original series.
You're sitting in my spot.
Why is it your spot?
It's complicated, just move.
In a later season, he also tells Dale to move, despite not actually wanting to sit down himself.
That's my spot.
Oh, sorry. Have a seat.
I don't want to sit there. That's just my spot.
In case anyone was wondering, Sheldon has been staying true to himself since he was young. Number 4. George's fate. Unlike the infidelity subplot, this was one storyline that couldn't be avoided. In The Big Bang Theory, we learned Sheldon lost his father at age 14, so we knew it was coming.
So, does your dad still live in Texas?
No, he died when I was 14.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The show built up to George's fate through his recurring heart problems, and narrator Sheldon reflecting on things he wished he'd said to his dad.
I never did get to see a launch in person, but that was the best trip I ever had. I wish I had told my father while he was alive.
When the tragic moment finally happened, it was even more heartbreaking than we could have imagined. It was already sad knowing Sheldon lost his father, but now it felt like we'd lost someone too. At least Big Bang found a heartwarming way to bring George back when Sheldon needed him most. And here come the waterworks again.
Thanks, Dad. We're gonna give him hell.
Number 3. Bazinga. Fun fact, the Big Bang Theory writer Stephen Engel has reportedly been credited as the originator of Sheldon's famous Bazinga quip. He apparently used to use it himself before it was thrown into the show.
That's a Bazinga, right?
Heard when Sheldon tells a joke or pulls a prank, it's become perhaps the single most recognizable word from the show.
Bazinga, punk, now we're even!
So it's no surprise that the prequel gave the legendary word an origin story. Sheldon's younger self wanders into a comic store and finds a display filled with prank products from the Bazinga novelty company.
If it's funny, it's Bazinga. Interesting.
The rest is history, as he begins to prank his friends and family, all while uttering his famous catchphrase.
Bazinga!
Number 2, Soft Kitty. Ask any fan of The Big Bang Theory to name 5 memorable things from the show. We bet Soft Kitty will make the list. Penny and Sheldon shared many memorable moments of either of them singing this cute lullaby to each other over the years.
Sing Soft Kitty to me.
Soft kitty is for when you're sick. You're not sick.
Fans were even treated to Sheldon's mother, Mary, singing it to him.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur.
So when young Sheldon finds himself bedridden and sick as can be, everyone watching knew exactly what Mary was about to do.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur.
As she sings the song to her son, fans everywhere are reminded of him laying in bed as an adult, convincing Penny to sing him to sleep. As it turns out, it's quite useful when soothing babies too.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Meemaw/Moon Pie. Her name may be Connie, but to us, she'll always be Meemaw.
Dr. Linkletter invited me to a lecture on robotics, but my Meemaw said he's only doing it to spend time with her.
Are you asking if men do sketchy things to get dates?
Yes.
Well, then I can help you. Absolutely.
The path that led Sheldon to theoretical physics. Can't you just picture it? Sheldon's future employers ask what motivates him, to which he responds,
I usually respond by saying I wanted to unravel the inner workings of the universe.
Yeah, perhaps when Captain Kirk said to boldly go, he meant in one of those, huh?
But the real answer was I wanted to prove this nincompoop wrong.
Fear of driving. While he would eventually get his license, we can kind of see why he wasn't too keen for all those years.
I've often been asked why I never learned to drive a car. This night is your answer.
Graphic tees. Sheldon enters his teen years in a flash. T-shirt, that is.
Pretty groovy, huh?
Wow, I might look too cool.
A wink to Blossom fans. Little did he know that one day that actress would blossom into his wife.
How do you think Celeste would look next to Joey Lawrence?
I don't know who that is.
He's Blossom's brother.
I don't know who that is.
It's a show. She wears hats.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, their younger selves. Since young Sheldon focuses on the titular character's youth, it precludes him from being able to interact with his future friends.
In that moment, I felt like a neutrino, destined to be alone forever.
However, on the night of the final episode of The Big Bang Theory, young Sheldon also aired their season 2 finale, and the prequel show gave us the greatest nod to the original we could have asked for. As younger Sheldon cries over being alone at his Nobel party, the scene transitions.
Leonard, dear, you should be in bed.
We're given a sneak peek at Leonard, Penny, Raj, Howard, Bernadette, and Amy, all as their younger selves. Sure, we already knew Sheldon wouldn't end up alone.
Howard, turn off that acoustic game and go to sleep.
But who doesn't get misty-eyed seeing all his greatest friends, knowing the best was yet to come for all of them?
Thankfully, I was wrong.
Which Big Bang Theory throwback hit your acoustic sweet spot? Let us know in the comments.
This is nowhere near the acoustic sweet spot. Shush.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.